actually started teaching in 1973. I'm a business education teacher, and I taught at John F. Kennedy High School,
Wow.
home of the Knights. I started at John F. Kennedy High School. They were so welcoming. They were so embracing. High school was not my goal at that particular time. My goal was to teach on the junior college level. But once I started working with the students at the high school, I loved it, and I never left. And so that was in 1973, and I was in the classroom until about, I would say 85, but maybe a few years beyond that. So as a business ed teacher, I did other jobs while I was at Kennedy High School. While at Kennedy High School, as I said, I was a business education teacher. From that position, I became director of attendance.
Okay.
If you didn't come through the business or the business department, you got to know me as the director of attendance. If you weren't coming to school, if you were absent 5 days, 10, 15, 20 days plus, you had a visit in my office with your parents. So dealing with parents as a classroom teacher, that came very natural to me. I didn't have a problem dealing with parents as a classroom teacher. But as I began to take other administrative roles, those roles are different, and your relationship and your interaction is a little different with parents. Particularly when I dealt with parents and the students' attendance. For a period of time, I conducted what they used to call attendance hearings. And so if kids were out of school for more than 21 days, and if they were over the age of 16, we'd have a meeting where a decision would have to be made to perhaps recommend the student to attend a different kind of program. That I found very challenging, and even those who worked with me realized it was a challenge. My role I started out with the title executive assistant, and as the years progressed, let me just first say that I had an opportunity to stay in the superintendent's office. Once I arrived, I think it was in 1997, I worked under 5 different superintendent administrations. And so with each of them, my role was similar. And for each of them, I helped them with the overall operations of the office, which also included written correspondences, meeting with parents, meeting with administrators in behalf of the superintendent, meeting with board members, meeting with parents, if I didn't say that already. And so just a wide range. I was in charge of overseeing the school board elections each year, so I would meet with prospective board members, when it was appropriate during that time. Just a range of things. What were you going to say? As the chief of staff, executive assistant, I would represent the superintendent in many of the county meetings with superintendents countywide, assisting the superintendent with state presentations to the State Board of Education as well as county executives. And so it's a wide range of experiences and tasks that I had. I like people. I am a people person, and I have to tell you that's still happening now, believe it or not. I'm still getting calls, about different concerns that parents may have, knowing what my role was. They have not disconnected me from the district. And fortunately, when I left, I still had a good relationship with the staff, with the administrators. And so I still have the ability to reach out when I have to, when I want to, when there is a need to assist a parent. But I keep my distance, but I try to give guidance. Most certainly, try to give guidance.
Well, that is most appreciated.
Yeah. And I'm just happy that they feel comfortable enough that they want to talk to me. Retirement is not anything I had ever planned to do. That was not one of my goals. It's just that life presented me with a situation. I felt like it was best for me. My father became ill, and et cetera, et cetera. I wanted to spend more time with him, and assist him for all that he had given me and done for me. I felt like that was the least I could do, and I was blessed that I had more than enough years, and I was over the age where I could, and so I did. But anyway, I did think about what would be some of the things I would like to do if ever I retired, and it would involve working with senior citizens.
Wonderful.
Working with senior citizens, and so through my church, there are a number of roles I have taken on that helps me to intermingle with them on a regular basis.
That
and
is
so
wonderful.
I get joy out of that.
Well,
I do. If I were to give one piece of advice to young people, you know, I went to work. If I was really sick, of course I took off, but just to take off work, I just never got into that practice. You know, over the years you hear people say, oh, I took off on Monday because it was my birthday, or they're planning on taking off because it's their birthday, or I'm taking off because I haven't taken any time off so far this year. I never worked like that. You know, the pattern and the example that I saw through my father, who was the working parent. My father went to work every day. That's what he showed me. He showed me integrity. He showed me character. He showed me honesty. And so it's part of my DNA. I went to work. And as a result, I didn't take off work if I wasn't sick. If I was sick and I needed it, and there have been a couple of instances I've had to take off a block of time, and thank God I had the days at the time. But in all of the years that I had put into the district, I had a considerable amount of time at the end. And I was working, once I went down to the Board of Ed, I was working with a young lady. I don't know if I'm allowed to say her name. She's no longer with us. She was a secretary in the superintendent's office suite, and she had become very ill. She was dying of cancer. She had used up all of her days. And I had gone to Human Resources to see if I could take some of my days and give to her so that she would have more time. And at that time, they told me that was not allowed for legal reasons. And I just never forgot that. I just felt whatever they could do, I wanted to do that for her. As I began to process my retirement paperwork, I heard of another situation of a young lady who had a very severe accident at home. And when I told the department, you know, when they told me how many days I had, I was turning them back in. By that time, they had developed a program that will enable those who wanted to donate some of their sick days back into the bank. You could do it. And so I did that in her behalf. And I just felt like that's the least I could do. If I didn't need them because I was sick, I felt I was blessed. And so if I could bless someone else in that way, that's what I wanted to do.
And how many hours were they, approximately?
It went by days. And I know there were over 300 and some odd days. But we're talking 43 years, so, you know.
And you could have been paid out for those days?
I'm sure there's a way you can do it. I'm sure there's a way. But again, because I didn't really need them myself, I felt I was blessed. And when I needed the time, because I through my 43 years, I did have 2 major surgeries. And so when I needed the time, I had the time, because I hadn't wasted time. So
it's a beautiful act. It will never
but
be
I didn't
forgotten.
realize it was being talked about.